Yo, people, hello. Welcome to Sports Wire. It's been a long time that I've done a live stream, first of all, that to post-match reaction. So, really, good to be here after a wonderful performance from Chelsea Football Club at the Stamford Bridge against Liverpool. And we've got a special guest as well today, and he is already with us in the in the background. So I'm going to bring him in as well. And most of you would have read the caption, and you would have known, or you would have guessed who that is. But it is, there you go. It's Winter Surfer, Andrew.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Andrew. How are you?
Yeah, all good. It's been very quiet the last few days for Chelsea. So, otherwise, yeah.
A bit of sarcasm to start with. We've got already a couple of comments there. King of CFC says, "What's up?" And Fairboy says, "Sup, Vijay, my guy, Winter Surfer." Yeah, he's agreed and accepted our invite to join the channel Sportswire for the first time. We're having him in the channel. Hopefully, we give him a good time here. Let's get started with whatever we have on the agenda. Probably these are the things that we're going to discuss, guys. Firstly, we'll talk about Andrew first. We'll get to know Andrew first. And then we'll talk, around the preview, probably around the Lukaku topic as well, and also on the post-match reactions for the Chelsea-Liverpool game. Lots to talk about. I have a certain tweets that I've clipped as well, so we'll bring them in and we can talk about that as well. Chelsea Football Club is going mad in the last 15, 20 days. So anyways, it's going to be nice to, talk about these with our own Winter Surfer, Andrew. Let's get started. So, Andrew, tell me a bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? And how did you get to this name, Winter Surfer?
Okay, so the name Winter Surfer came because I'm minor knows I'm into geek nerd culture, and I was one of my favorite films of all time is The Winter Soldier, and I've been on Twitter since 2014, but I've not really done much since lockdown. So I just chose that name. It just sounded, I just thought it sounded good. It sounded cool. It was. I didn't really think much into it, and then I've just left it essentially. I've introduced my first name over the last year or so, but yeah, I just chose it because it just sounded like I was going to do Winter Soldier, but then someone said, "Why, if you go online, just put Surfer," and I thought, okay, I'll just do that. And I've just kept it since then. So not a big origin story or anything like that, or anything close to my heart. But it's just one of those. It's just one of those names, those silly names. It's just. I've just kept it essentially. Stand out really. No one else has got it. So I don't know Winter Surfer 1 or Winter Surfer 2. It's just the Winter Surfer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, it's Winter Surfer, and you're the only Winter Surfer that I at least know in the Chelsea community. And this name has become increasingly popular in most of our streams. Wherever we go, we get to talk to Winter Surfer in most of the stream, starting from Jeffrey Lewis to a lot of other streams as well, GNA TV and all, and etc. etc. So, what's the idea behind going on streams and talking about what instigated this?
I think the lockdown really. The lockdown instigated it. I was watching the Terrace and everything, and then big up to Ladimus Prime. He was doing a thing on his Twitch channel, and he was just talking about random things, and I was just put a couple of messages in, and he just invited me on, and then it's steamrolled from there essentially. And then I've just got more confident with going on streams, and then I've just been invited to do more to be on streams. So. It's just, lockdown really made it possible, essentially, for me to do it, obviously. Also helped, I won't be afraid to say so, I think it helped with my mental health. Because lockdown, because I was actually one of the ones who was still, travelling to work during the first lockdown. And it was, becoming the days and weeks. And we've probably seen the last 2 years how quickly it's flown by. The days, weeks, months just roll into one. And this gave me an outsource to actually talk about something I wanted to talk about, which was football in general or Chelsea and other things. So just generally that essentially. So and then like I said, just make around supporting others, having bants in the chat. I'm more like that. I'd rather see people smile and laugh, trying during these times. If that's at the expense of me, I don't mind, because I'm really one of those who is who's not thin-skinned. It really takes something really bad to make me mad, essentially. So as long as I can make people, I'd rather play the fool and make people laugh and smile and have a good time. And I'll debate people, but I think since I've got older, I've just learned to pick my debates more. Do you know what I mean? And not to be over. We'll probably discuss it. We'll probably discuss it a little bit further on about the latest thing, but not to become. I've learned to step back and analyze things. Where probably when I first started this, I rushed in and was a bit hot-headed. But it's one of those things.
Yeah, sometimes the art of debating is something separate from that of knowing where and when to debate and who to debate with. I get that completely. And I guess that is something that you get by practice as well, right? And over the past 2 years, if you've been, busy on so many streams, you would have, gotten a hang of it. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So, Andrew, next question that I had for you was your love for Chelsea. Tell me where it started. How did you get into Chelsea Football Club? And are you originally from the UK or a different nationality?
No, I'm originally from the UK. I'm actually born in London, in Lambeth.
All right.
So this came from actually my parts of my family were Spurs fans.
Wow.
And I was like linked to them. First of all, I was watching a load of their games, and then I was watching like the Chelsea game. I think like '94 or something like that. And I like my favorite colour is blue anyway, and I just saw them beat them. And I was just following them since then. Like I randomly, before I really got into football, obviously we got to the FA Cup final and we lost 4-0 in the rain to Man United. But I really started following them in '95. This was when, no one can say I'm a bandwagon jumper. This is before Roman. And I got excited when we signed Mark Hughes on a free transfer. That's how far I go back. So. Yeah, and then obviously I lived in London most of my life. I lived around the corner from the King's Road, so it's literally like a walk to Stamford Bridge, which I used to go to before financial situation made me not go and everything like that. So I've been there, seeing the tough games when we would beat all the big boys and then lose to the really small teams. Us getting knocked out of UEFA Cup by some Norwegian or Swedish team that no one's ever heard of in the first round. And then I've seen the greatness. I was at the game 4-2 Liverpool '97 FA Cup, come back for 2-0 down in the rain, watching us beat, I think it was Tromso or someone in the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final to get through in that game. I've seen it all. I've seen greatness and everything. It's been an absolute privilege to support this club. And I always like to say, whether you before Roman or after Roman, if you're supporting the club, that's all good for me. And like I said, seeing us win that, I would never thought I would see my club win a league title, let alone 5. And then I would never thought I'd see my team win 1 European Cup, let alone 2 in my lifetime. If I only win 2 in my lifetime, it's been absolute privilege, because I never thought we would see that. But yeah, started from when I was younger. So.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? When people talk about the pre-Roman era, the fans there, I think they're much more associated with the club. It's not that I'm undermining the fans who've come to us post the Roman era. In fact, I'm one of those fans as well, because I was just 7 when Roman took over the club. So. I'm probably, someone who's part of the Roman era. But then when it comes to the pre-Roman era, a lot of sentiments attached to the club is something that you cannot take away. These fans, fans like you who've been with the club for years together, you can clearly observe the transition of the club that it's made into now, right? From the growth of the club, not just in the space of Premier League. I'm talking about from the grassroots level. When we proudly say we've got one of the best academies in the world. But then you guys would have realized how that transformed as well, how we picked up kids from the street and then made them into young footballers. Chelsea Football Club at the Stamford Bridge, near Fulham. A lot of, our kids going to Chelsea Football Club, training with our stars, with good coaches. You would have seen that transition, right? Can you talk to us through that transition from that Roman era to, pre-Roman era to Roman era?
I think it all started really when we got Glenn Hoddle in as manager, and then so obviously he's a former Chelsea player, probably more associated with Spurs more than anything. But he came in, and then he brought Ruud Gullit in, who was like, you know, that was probably like when we all went, hang on a minute, you know, because at that time Premier League clubs were getting these type of stars, some of these stars right at the end of their careers, like that, and it was like, okay, let's see what we can do. And he's a privilege to watch. I watched previous stuff of him in Milan and everything, and then obviously then he took over, and then we bought like Leberth, Vialli, Di Matteo, and then just the magician that is Gianfranco Zola, who was, I always put him, I think him and Bergkamp were just way ahead of their time. I mean, if they were playing now, I mean, they would be considered some of the best players in the world. What them two could do. I mean, Gianfranco Zola, I think, arrived in November of '96 for 4.5 million and got Player of the Year. And he'd only got Player of the Year in like 6 months. He was dancing in and out, and then obviously we won the FA Cup. 25 years since we won anything. Fastest goal at the time, Di Matteo, Wembley, and then we were on the up and up. Obviously, then Gullit gets done, and Vialli comes in, gets more trophies, and it rolls on from there. And then obviously, I do like to wind up Liverpool fans by saying that we were more successful in the 90s than they were during that time, which is true. But it rolls on, and it was sort of like a sort of lull, really. We didn't win anything. We got to a couple of finals, I believe, but we were getting knocked out of Europe. And then, if you remember that game against Liverpool, basically we needed to win that to make Champions League. And then the whole thing with Roman explodes. I mean, that summer in 2003, I think we were signing a player nearly every day, it felt like, in 2003. I remember one day we signed, and it's not a good signing, but we signed Veron from Manchester United for 12 million. And 2 hours later, they reported we signed Joe Cole for 6.6 million. And then I was seeing Makaleli hold up his shirt, Claude Makaleli. That's when I thought, oh my God. And then at the time, Hernan Crespo. Hernan Crespo. Are you mad? Hernan Crespo. And then obviously that season was a good season. It didn't happen. And then obviously Jose Mourinho comes in, we start changing everything then. Start changing like the ground. We were going to, I don't know if you remember, I think we used to train near like an airport or something, like an old airport, something like that. And then obviously they were building Cobham. And then just from there, essentially, we just had success. I've not always agreed. Big up Nick Blue, by the way. I've not always agreed with what Roman's done, but I back him to the fullest. I always say there's only one. He's the most important man in our club's history. He is the most. I don't care what no player or manager goes above him whatsoever. He literally saved us. I'd hate to see where we would be if he hadn't saved us. We'd probably be bust. We'd probably have to be AFC Chelsea or something like that and start climbing away through the leagues. But like I said, I've not agreed with everything he's done. Like I didn't agree with the Ancelotti sacking and interference and everything like that. But how can you in like it'd be 19 years this year?
Yeah.
Essentially won a trophy every year, and it's like I said, he's made it possible for us to win not one but 2 European Cups in 9 years. That's just insane. But the whole thing's changed. The whole ethos has changed. We're now going through. I think once we got that first title and then back-to-back titles, the whole ethos of the fan base changed. It was like, okay, we've won it back-to-back. We know where we belong. Okay, we should have done 3 in a row. We should have done 3 in a row in that 2006-7 season if like things hadn't happened, like interference and everything like that. But we should won more league titles. But it's just one.
I think that was the moment. I think that was the moment when we started believing that we belong in the top 6 or top 4, for a matter of fact, right? After Mourinho coming in. But yeah, continue. Sorry for cutting you off.
And it's like we got to 3 seasons in a row of semi-finals in the Champions League, and then the final, and then it was like I think that's when we started getting up. We were the only club who could stand up really to Barcelona during that time. We gave them good matches. The classics with Liverpool, just the atmosphere in the Champions League, which stoked the rivalry even more. And seeing some of the players that have come through, I mean, it's a privilege, players step up. Frank Lampard, John Terry, obviously, Didier Drogba, Claude Makélélé, Michael Essien, severely underrated due to the injuries. Ashley Cole, Carvalho, Michael Ballack, Nicolas Anelka, Eden Hazard, all these players, man. All these players. It's been a privilege to watch. You could count yourself very lucky if you watched all of them during that time. And now we're going through something a little bit different. We're going through look at the scene, which is always what he wanted to do. He wanted to see the academy graduates come through. Is it too many at one time? In my opinion, it is. And that means that we're then going to have inconsistent performances like we're seeing. But it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, we all get attached to players that really come through our academy and everything like that. But these guys won a Champions League already, so they've already delivered the biggest. They've already delivered the biggest prize in club football. You know what I mean? So the only way is to consistently see them perform, and it's one of those where I myself am hesitant to. I think there's too many young players in the squad. I think it's overbalanced, but I really want us to stick them with Thomas Tuchel and then give him the tools to. That's what I want now, and but I don't. The club have to. I'm going a bit of tangent. The club have to prove that they've changed by backing this manager. I'll probably talk about that a bit later, but it's been a wonderful experience. Absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely wonderful the way that you explained the pre-Roman era and the Roman era. I mean, Fairboy rightly puts that. I like how Winter Surfer has opened my eyes to some of our club's history. I mean, there are certain things even I don't know, of course, and I'm open to know about it. And I got to know a lot about our club history when you're talking about it. Thank you so much, Winter Surfer, for doing that, actually. Nick Blue says we were always good, but Roman made us one of the biggest club in Europe. Another person, Nick Blue, who's been watching Chelsea Football Club right from 1960s, I believe. Got a loads of experience there in terms of knowing the club's history. King of CFC says, I just see us snatching another CL somehow, Champions League somehow. All right, we'll talk about that. But thank you, first of all, Andrew, for taking us through that Chelsea journey. It was beautiful. I think while we were talking about that Chelsea journey, I came across certain scenarios where Mourinho came in, and then first Roman came in, Mourinho came in, and then we had top players coming in, starting to contribute to the club and all such. So I just wanted to ask you. I know Roman, of course, is a separate. He stands in a separate pedestal. But my question to you is, apart from Roman, who do you think in the last from 2003, let's take from 2003, has been the person that you think, without this person, we are not here today?
That's a good question. Such a good question. I think Mourinho has to take a lot of credit for building that siege mentality and helping the core of that group that are actually near enough the same age grow up together and even carry that on after he left and when he came back as well. I think Mourinho has to take. I think Mourinho is still our greatest manager. I know Thomas Tuchel and Roberto Di Matteo won the European Cup and everything like that, but I just think Mourinho done it in two spells. He came back. He went back to back. He won back-to-back Premier League titles. We're only one of three teams to ever do it in the Premier League like that. Yeah. He then came back. Okay, he did it in his second season, but he was able to just bring them back and win the title again. He has to take a lot of credit. I think though that what I would say is that I think also the bunch of players have to take, like, that core of Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Cech, Ashley Cole, a couple of midfielders together as well, is even through the times where you might have disagreed with what manager got hired or what manager got fired, they were still able to drag this Chelsea team to win things, even if we missed out on a season, which is probably what's missing in this current squad. That it's not like a core at the moment, or they're not established or experienced enough to actually do that. I think Mourinho really has to take a lot of credit for installing the winning and the siege mentality. Because remember, even after he left, we were still undefeated at home for nearly a year and a half afterwards. I mean, 4 years without losing at home, no one's ever done it. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, Mourinho comes second in the list. Also have to credit it's Mourinho actually. Yeah, it's just Mourinho. Yeah, at the moment.
All right. We'll take Mourinho. Not an issue. I think for Mourinho as well, his chink in Chelsea is probably the most memorable thing, is what I believe. I mean, he would have gone to other clubs. He would have managed other clubs. I mean, he has a very good, management style, and he's adopted that style across leagues, across countries. But then I think Mourinho as well shined a lot more better, and the kind of respect that we give as a fan base to Mourinho has always been really great. Having said that, this is on Jose Mourinho. But when it comes to this is something that is more specific to you or people who are in the UK. I tend to ask this question for people who are in the UK because they get to know this a lot better than we as international fans look at the club. I'd like to understand from you, apart from the sporting side of things, right? Apart from sporting side of Chelsea, how has the Chelsea supported the community? I've been hearing a lot of stories in the way that the players have been taken care of, the alumni players have been taken care of. That's from the players' perspective, of course. But then Chelsea FC as a club helping the community. What do you know about that? Or were you impressed by the work that we do for the community? Do you know some of those work? Can you let us know about?
Well, yeah, you only have to look at over the last couple of years what Roman Abramovich has done in not furloughing people and setting up, Stamford Bridge and the surrounding areas for NHS staff to stay over or collect meals or something like that out of his own pocket or out of Chelsea's pocket. Support. I know he's been trying to desperately rid part of this fan base of the issues with the certain Y word with the Jewish community, trying to, obviously because he is of that faith, and trying to rid that and everything like that. I think he's obviously changing the image as much as possible. I know he would like to obviously build a new stadium, but I think them taking away his visa and then him not applying for it sort of was like a backlash to that. Whether that changes or not, because he seems to be getting nationalities all over the place now, because he's got like a Portuguese national citizen, he's got the Israeli national citizen. So I don't know whether that will change. I just think overall he's trying to. Let's face it, when he took up, we were a cup team. Yeah, we weren't. Safe to say we're probably just a little bit ahead of Spurs because we won a few cups, something like that. He took us over. We changed the way we're perceived right now, and we're coming back to people don't like us, and because we achieve things. He's now on the pitch. He's changed it, and off the pitch, he's trying to change it as well, working with others. Whether that's who he has sponsors with, what charities he chooses to help with. I mean, we know about the game in 2019. He went over to America before the cup final, and obviously it cost us a couple of injuries, but he was insistent on playing, a full strength side over there. I just think it's one of those. He will continue to try and change. It's whether some of the fans go along with it and get their minds into more of a 2022 mode instead of maybe even like a 2002 mode. But he should be commended, about, even now he's not still he's putting his money in, but it's not as much as he was before. He understands, he wants to probably leave it to his son to take over or something like that. But I just think, like I said, no matter obviously what he's done on off the pitch, that's why I always say he's the most important man in Chelsea's history. No player, no fan, no manager, no one is more important than this man. This man saved us. That's why he is why we're able to talk about him like this. Nearly 20 years later. 20 years of glory. I mean, probably City will take over the record soon, but we've been the best club for the past 10, 15 years, winning things, right? And he's done it his way. Like I said, I haven't agreed with who he's hired and fired, but it's his club, yeah? He's decided to do what he needs, and I don't think anyone, while they can question it, they just have to roll with the punches because he's the main man, yeah? So I just think, like, on and off the pitch, he's changed the whole ethos, the whole how we look at Chelsea ourselves. We don't consider ourselves a cup team anymore. We, no matter what the squad is, we always at the start of the season go, or most of us go, even if it's foolish, go, yeah, we should be in for a title run or definitely top four or European Cup, European Cup or something like that. But it's one of those. He's just. I don't think anyone can slate him for doing what he's done. So.
Yeah, and an interesting thing here is that not a lot of clubs can say the same about their owners. I mean, I know Chelsea for one can do that, but I'm not sure how many Premier League team can actually, you know what, because this person has come into our squad, come into our team, and then elevated our team. That's why we're winning all of that, and that attribution goes to the owner. I don't think a lot of team fans can actually say that. We're proud about our owner, and that's a good sign.
He's the model. I mean, Man City are the only other team that I know who have done the takeover thing correctly. The owners, they even probably looked at Roman Series, done it, and then changed it to fit their style. But every other owner, everyone's got a complaint about them. Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs are different because they were in before Roman. But like even Everton, let's see how this Newcastle lot do. Let's see how they, you know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, you're right. He's like the to me, and I know it's Barry. I think he's the best owner in sports. I just think he's the best. I think he's best. He wants to win. He's not. It's like if I would fear for this club if we had an American takeover because of the way they like to how they run their sports franchises. So like money first and then wins a bonus. He wants us to win. You can still see when he comes back, even 3 years away, the other week when he's been 3 years away from Stamford Bridge since he's seen a game. You saw him at the European Cup final this past May. On the pitch, he's still like the same as he was when we won the first title.
Right.
It's his.
He's not tired of winning.
He's not tired of winning. He's not tired of winning. He's not tired of winning. And he still he doesn't turn up in a suit. In a suit and tie. He's like in his jeans, shirt, and a cardigan. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't look like a billionaire. He just looks like he just turned up. They just gave him a ticket. He just turns up, which I like. Keeps it real, but I just like I said, he's just without him. Like I said, we wouldn't have the privilege of talking to each other like this, or about our club like this. Yeah.
No, makes a lot of sense. Slowly, we'll get into the club. What are currently doing now, Chelsea Football Club in terms of. The current situation, 2021, it's an interesting 2021 for us. It has been an interesting 2021. We finished, the Champions League last season on a high note. We came in with high expectations. We started off very well, but then picked up a lot of injuries along the way, and other external circumstances did contribute to what we are or how we are, in the table position currently. But then there are certain things that we cannot forget. This man, Thomas Tuchel. The way that he's come in, he's integrated with the squad. He's integrated a lot of young players as well. I thought only Lampard did that because of the transfer ban that we had previously. And there was no option for him other than to have young players in. But Thomas Tuchel has kept up the same process. I mean, he's not ignoring the young talents that we currently have, as well as he's not afraid to bring new ones in Harry Vale or be it Spoon, Bell, whatever you want to call him.
Spoonie.
Yeah. So I think talk to us about Thomas Tuchel, the way that he has integrated with the squad.
I think what's underestimated is his man management skills, because he picked up that squad who I think at the time were just on the floor, most of them. Because as much as I'm able to separate Lampard, the the GOAT player of all time from the manager, right? I'm able to do that. But even it didn't hit me until we needed to change until like the Boxing Day 2020 when we lost to that Arsenal team. One of the worst Arsenal teams ever, and I snapped and I just went, I can't do it anymore. But his man management skills are off the charts, even with this current situation. He was able to resurrect that team, and remember what is one of his first statements he said, I'm going to make sure that no one likes to play against this team.
Yeah.
Now, current form, you might want to, but that's just current form. But when he first came in, he said that he built up players' confidence again. He started integrating people that have been left out. Remember, Alonso hadn't been in, was basically shunned out from that West Brom away game when he went on a bus. He brought Rudiger back in. He brought Christensen back in. He rotated Thiago Silva correctly. He made, he changed the formation obviously to bring the best out of us. He elevated Ben Chilwell's game, which I thought Ben Chilwell was the poster boy for his coaching. He managed Kai Havertz the right way, which I thought Kai Havertz had never been managed the right way since he joined us, due to late starting and then obviously COVID and everything like that. But the way he was able to galvanise that team and make them focus on the Champions League and not concede like 1 or 2 goals in that whole entire tournament, have the best defensive record in the Champions League history, and was able to outschool Pep 3 times in 3 different competitions. I've never seen a coach make Pep Guardiola sweat 3 times, like making change formation for 3 different matches. And okay, the league form was to the end was a bit patchy, and we had to have Spurs get us in the Champions League at the end. But all in all, in less than 5 months, he's finished top 4, and he's won the European Cup. Now, I'm telling you right now, no one's ever going to convince me anything different. When he signed in January, I think his only requirement was to finish top 4.
Top 4.
There was no way this club said, you've got to win a trophy. Not a chance. And I don't know if you noticed, BJ, I think you could notice the signs even on that first Wolves game. Even after like 12 hours of coaching, there was just a slight change.
The 0-0, right?
Even though we didn't win, it was like, it was one
but
of
I
those
thought,
where it's like,
honestly, I thought they were actually trying to play to impress the manager, if I'm being honest in that situation. Yeah.
Maybe. And then, maybe it is. And then it's like, but yeah, look what he's done. I mean, listen, I think he is managing other people's players at the moment. Now,
I think you're relating to the point that King of CFC is talking about here. Down. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I think we have a real opportunity to change what we've done over the past 15 years. And instead of buying players for the club, we actually buy players for the manager, right? So, if Tuchel wants Declan Rice, and I have no problem with Declan Rice, it's just always the price with me. 100 million is not going to happen. But if he wants Declan Rice, or he wants Mendy, or he wants whoever, then go out and buy them. If he wants to keep Lukaku now after the situation, back him. I will back him. If he wants to sell whoever, if he wants to sell Pulisic at the end of the season, allow him. We have to. I think there's a real chance for what Chelsea fans at the end of the day, even myself, cry out for, and that's a manager here for however long it is, 4 or 5. I'm only asking 4 or 5 years. I'm not even asking for a decade. I'm asking for half a decade, which we've not had under Roman Abramovich whatsoever, and actually back him. And if you are then going to say to this guy, or he's going to say, I'm going to integrate all these youth players as well, is say, okay, then it might take us time to win the league, or it's going to take us time to win the European Cup again. But as long as we consistently finish in top 4, we're fine. But there's a real opportunity with this guy here. That's why, while all in all, the Lukaku thing, I think he's stupid. Everything like that.
But do you think Lukaku, first of all, was a Thomas Tuchel signing? I mean, the statement here from King of CFC, he says Chelsea to sack him since he only got Lukaku. I'm not even sure if Lukaku was a Tuchel signing after what happened here.
I don't know. That's what I mean. I don't know whether it's like, well, when they go to him and they have like a list of players. Can you check this list of players? Would you like any of them? And he's probably going yes. It's like Lukaku really. I think Lukaku was the only serious big striker we could get. Because Haaland, as much as people say, oh yeah, just spend the money, they don't know how this club is. That means they don't know how this club is run. They don't just spend money like that. It's always a precision plan of what to spend and how much to spend, and if they can spend it. And Kane was never gonna happen. And then it's like, well, then do you bring in a big striker, or do you stick with Kai Havertz? Or do you bring in a non-big striker? But I think whatever he wants, I think he should get. Because I don't believe he's truly happy with this squad in terms of quality rise, depth wise. In terms of numbers, there's loads of players there, but we've seen it now with the quality drop off. When Ben Chilwell goes, the quality drop off to Alonso is huge. When the midfield drops out, when we haven't got Kante, Kovacic, or Jorginho, it drops off. And up front, we don't know the quality drop off because they're all inconsistent. So it's like, I would just go with him. I would just go with him for the next how many years he needs, because let's face it.
Do you think he should be given a 5-year deal, something of that sort? I mean, I'm not saying a directly 5-year deal. Maybe what Chelsea is doing here is the right way to go about it. 18 months, and progressively 18 months to keep the manager always on the toe. But do you think Pep Guardiola getting 5 years, Klopp getting 5 years to build their own squad, to build their own team? I can probably say that every single player that Pep Guardiola currently has in his squad, the same goes for Klopp as well.
Just bear me for a second.
Yeah. Guys, meanwhile, please press that like button. We've got a wonderful guest here. We're getting to know a lot, not just about him, about Chelsea, about the club's history, about a lot of other things, his perspective as well. Love the conversation with Winter Surfer. No worries, mate. No worries, Andrew.
Yeah, the cat was clawing at the door. She's a menace.
That's all right.
Like I said, whether you say 4 or 5 years, I just think there's a lot of, I hate this word now, but because everyone overuses it in this fan base, there's a lot of potential with Thomas Tuchel, right? He's already won a European Cup with basically not his team. The issue is like, I still think we're the only club, I think, to spend 250 million and still need to spend a lot more to overturn this squad because of our purchases haven't been right. Our purchases have not been right. We need to sit with Thomas Tuchel, whatever happens this summer, and go, or whenever the last day of the season. Okay, so we're on board now. Who do you want? Who do you want? So what do you need? Who do you want? Who do you want to get rid of? And also the problem is that we need to take. You know what? We're going to have to really stop thinking that we can sell some of these players for what we actually want. Like, I don't know if you remember this summer, there was a rumour that Leeds wanted Michy Batshuayi for like £10 million, and we wanted 15, and that's why the deal didn't go through. Take your loss. You're taking a loss anyway. You're taking over a £20 million loss on him anyway. And Marcus Alonso, I'm sorry, we just need to get better. We need to get better in all areas of this pitch, and we have the manager. We saw it yesterday. You could tell he was angry and pissed off yesterday. There was something different about him. That's the angriest I've seen him on the sideline. Yeah. I've seen him when we miss chances and he goes, oh, like that. But he was up, you could tell the whole situation with Lukaku had pissed him off.
That has just increased to his pressure.
Yeah, the pressure then cranks up and, we were 2-0 down and it all got on top of him and he just unleashed it. But I just think we need to start thinking more long-term than short-term, because we are the short-term club. It's like, we're always 18 months away from a crisis / winning a trophy. At this moment in time, we've never gone 2 years without winning a trophy at all. And it's like, listen, Pep, you brought up Pep, right? Pep had that side partly built before he even arrived. They bought De Bruyne and Sterling the season before. They installed those Barcelona people the season before. So they did all lined up. And it's like, this man got you European Cup. You should back him. Totally.
Agreed to whatever you're saying there with respect to supporting Thomas Tuchel. King of CFC says this system can become unstoppable only if Tuchel gets the players he wants to fit in the system. Not great, well-known players, but great for the system. Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't make sense if you go and get Neymar's and Messi's and Ronaldo's if it doesn't help Tuchel's system. So the systemic players that suits Thomas Tuchel is what we require, and no one can help us better than Thomas Tuchel in identifying them. And that's why I trust Thomas Tuchel to make those decisions for Chelsea Football Club. MCIG says it's an interesting comment here. MCIG says that Conte can be a great agent and send Kane to the bridge. Do you think? I mean, how much practically is it feasible for this swap deal to happen? There's been a lot of talks going around on Twitter, but practically feasible?
Only if they offer it. They're going to say no if we say yeah, we're swapping for Kane. There's no way. Only if they offer it, and even then, does Tuchel want Kane? What if he said I want Son instead? Because Son fits the way I want to play, and he might do, because we've seen Son play up front by himself, as a false nine sort of thing, or anything. We've seen it. What if that pops up? Because personally, I think Son's Spurs' best player. There's a difference when he's not there. There's obviously a difference when Kane's not there, but I think you notice when Son's not there. So I think the only way that gets done if Spurs actually pop up and say it first. I don't think it will. I think we're living in fantasy really for that to ever happen. But then again, what if Tuchel comes out and he wants to keep Lukaku? We go 6 months without hearing anything from him. He starts banging in the goals, and then he's fine. I expect that to happen, but then at the end of this summer, we're going to sell him more than likely. Sort of like it's not really the same, but sort of like a Diego Costa situation in 2017. When he tried to leave during the season to go to China, and it was like, no, you dropped for one game. Okay, work your way back in, help us win the title, and then you're out essentially like that. But it'd be interesting. People automatically go, yeah, Kane, get Haaland, like we can, like it's FIFA. Like we just go, yeah, get that.
It isn't FIFA.
No, it's not FIFA. It's not FIFA. And then it's like, if Tuchel is insisting on keeping the 3-4-3 as well, what type of player does he want to fit that system? Because some of these players that we got now, they might be potentially to be very good, but they might not fit the system. Like, as much as I think Kai Havertz has got so much world star potential in him, is he good enough at this moment in time to lead that line? I don't think he is at this moment in time. And if we are, and that comes, then you have to decide then, okay, so we're going to let him develop, which means we might suffer in the league, or do we get someone in to help us still compete in the league while trying to help Kai develop? And it's one of those where he has to balance. So
I think there is a bit of common misconception when it comes to the Chelsea fan base in thinking that Thomas Tuchel was actually brought to the bridge just to help out Kai Havertz and Timo Werner because they were performing poorly, and they're Germans, and he's a German coach. He understands the German style because he was coaching in the German league. All of that makes a lot of sense. But I think that is not his only job, or that is not his primary responsibility. For him to stay in this job at Chelsea, he probably have to, get a squad that he wants. And if that means Timo Werner and Kai Havertz going out with the squad, I'd still be supportive of that. Your thoughts there?
I would be. I think I said I'd give Werner till January to show me some improvements, and I've not seen any. So I'm fine with if they were say get rid of Werner this January or in the summer, which I think more the summer he's going to leave, then fine. Kai Havertz, I would say the thing about Kai Havertz, I would give him one more season because of that first season for me was kind of like really upended by how he was handled by Lampard and the COVID situation and everything like that. But he still needs to now some of this fan base use the excuse of, but he's a second half of the year player. Okay, let's see what he does in the second half of the year. And then if that is the case, what is he not doing to make sure he's a whole year player?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we can't afford to wait for him to hit January the 1st for him to start putting in effort and work. We just can't afford to do that.
Agreed. And also, one thing that we have to realize is that when players come from the other league, coming into the Premier League, it's not just about integrating with the league. The league in itself is very hard. Apart from that, we don't have a winter break at all. And these guys are so much used to having a winter break in between, getting themselves back together and then playing the next 4 or 5 months, throughout the season. So that's something that definitely they have to adapt through, because they are not used to playing in December. And I also believe Thomas Tuchel had his first season in the month of December recently. I don't think so. He is managed in the month of December before as well. So those are certain things that we also have to understand. When we talk about managers and players, because it does count for a lot. Because managing in December is not an easy job to do. I think we all can relate to it. Okay, now we move into the very important part of the segment. Lukaku, this person. I mean, I've talked in so many streams about this person Lukaku, and I'm a lot tired now. I've not talked about Lukaku in my own stream before, but I don't want to do that before you talk to me about Lukaku and what you felt about this conversation. What was your feeling first time when you heard the news? Were you in that situation? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and defend him because that's the only statement that was released. Maybe Fabrizio is wrong. Maybe things are going a bit out of hand when Chelsea fans are being reactionary. What was your first thought that when you heard the news?
That was my fault. Like I said earlier, because it was like we were getting snips of it, and then it was only part 1 and then part 2. I was more in the camp of defending him overall, going, okay, I can see why, but I could see why people may have been upset or were getting a bit upset. Now we've had nearly everything. There's still a third part apparently to come out, isn't there? So that should be interesting. But now that some of it's been flushed out, I overall feel the timing makes no sense, because remember, if it's 3 weeks ago, he was only just coming back from injury. It wasn't as if he'd been dropped 7 games, come on, scored, and there was no explanation. He was just coming back from injury. So the timing makes no sense. Also, if the whole overall thing was to send a, whatever you want to call it, to send a reason to Inter Milan fans, then why didn't you say, first of all, I'm not answering any questions about Chelsea whatsoever? Yeah. Also, why didn't you inform anyone? Because you should have informed someone. I'm sorry, you have the obligation to inform someone. People go, well, Harry Kane did thing last time. Harry Kane told Spurs knew Harry Kane was having that interview with Gary Neville. He might have been away at England at the time, but he knew. And it's like something I would even like mention the system, everything like that. Okay, it's fine, but I wouldn't have mentioned that. Also, I'm not really upset. The thing that everyone keeps getting a bit upset about the Lautaro Martinez comment, and if I strip it away, I go, he's not gonna. If he's trying to address the Inter fans and appease them, he's not going to say, "Oh yeah, Martinez, come join. Oh, I love playing with you, Inter, but come join me at Chelsea right now. You'd have a really good time." I just think the whole thing. That's why he didn't inform his agents. It might have been through his management company, but he informed agents in Chelsea. I just think if he'd informed them, and they probably would have looked through the questions and gone, or even gone through it with him and gone, how are you going to answer this? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like,
that's what they usually do, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm going to ask you this question. How are you going to answer it? Okay, I wouldn't even say anything about Chelsea, first of all. So get that out. Oh, Lautaro Martinez, say, it was great playing with you. It was great playing with you. Maybe we'll do it again one day in the future, maybe after my time at Chelsea. Something like that. And also, I don't mind the Barcelona Real Madrid thing, because he was an Inter player at the time. I actually rate that he thinks so highly of himself, which is fine. Maybe others don't. But and then if I weren't here, I would have signed a contract at Inter Milan. If I wouldn't be here if I'd signed a contract at Inter Milan. But he said that previously before he'd already gone to Inter Milan board and asked for a contract, and they said no. So shock horror, a footballer moves for money, right? Shock horror. We're always doing that, yeah. Like that hasn't happened before. What undermines it though is what he said when he first arrived. I love Chelsea. I'm going to retire here. Blah blah blah. And also, why didn't he just do what normal footballers do when they leave a club? Just send like a letter, an open letter or something. Just say, I had to leave. I'm sorry I left leave. You helped me a lot. I will always remember you. And just leave in a letter. You don't need to do an interview whatsoever. So he's got. That's why I don't get emotionally attached to people at the football club unless they've been here for a while. So I'm emotionally. Listen, I don't want him to come back, but I'm emotionally attached to Eden Hazard, who's 8 years at the club. Yeah, I'm emotionally attached to Aspilicueta. You know what I mean? 10 years at the club. You know what I mean? Lukaku. Okay, what he's going if they decide that he's going to stay, shut up now and just do your talking on the pitch. Because let's face it, BJ, football makes hypocrites of us all, right? If he somehow scores winners in Champions League quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, no one's, even the staunchest of people that say get rid, are they really not going to celebrate him scoring? They're not, are they? They're gonna celebrate it and sing his name and whatever. And if he does that and then goes, fine, we bring someone else in. It's just big up, Daniel. It's just one of those things. I just think now this is the time the club have to change suit and back Tuchel, whatever his decision is. If he wants to get rid of Lukaku, hey, you did this to yourself. You know, I've got my sympathy is not with Lukaku. I'll make that plain clear right now. Sympathy, and I backed Thomas Tuchel for even dropping him yesterday. It showed balls, it showed leadership, and it showed that no player is bigger than anyone on that pitch.
You know what, Andrew? I particularly like the way that Thomas Tuchel handled the situation. The interview, first of all, that guy basically knew how to talk in an interview. He exactly said what the media wanted to hear, what the fans wanted to hear. He said that I respect these comments, but I also want to, clarify these behind closed doors, right? That actually told me that he is one of the top level managers that we could possibly have in our team, and I'm lucky to have Thomas Tuchel as Chelsea's manager. But a question does arise when it comes to the system. I'd like to read this comment from MCIG. He says that Facebook bio changed to Milan. Plus hot text to Tim Howard. I mean, this Tim Howard text, I'll get to that once I finish reading the comment. Hot text to Tim Howard suggests Rom wants a public escalation of Thomas Tuchel's module or system. It's not Rom's job to do that. It damages the chain of command of the organization, says MCIG. Completely agreed, MCIG. But let's take a moment and talk about this hot text to Tim Howard. I mean, you basically got into this situation by yourself and through media and talking to a journalist, basically. Why would you want to do it again after a week's time? I mean, you went and talked about the situation to Tim Howard, who you know is going to talk to everyone about it. Why would you want to do that?
I can only, and this is where I give him some benefit of that, VJ. They were teammates at Everton, right? So that might come into it first, and then second, that he's a member, a member of the media now, yeah. So he might just think, whatever kind of relationship they had, someone's reaching out, and that might have not been his mind. And remember, it's not an interview; it's just a text message. So it's not as if he's like then gone, stuff like that. So for me,
you could still argue it was off the record.
I listen. Whatever the thing is, I think that's kind of whether it is, let's come from the benefit of the doubt from his side and go, he was only talking to a friend, okay? Then I go, that's kind of crappy from Howard, without knowing everything, to go to really sell him out and really this is what Lukaku. Why didn't Howard just say, well, let's come from because we don't know if Lukaku said yes, you can definitely tell people this, okay? So we have to give benefit of the doubt then as well. But why didn't Lukaku was a fool for saying anything, right? Why don't you just say, I can't really talk about the situation right now. I'm gonna, that's it. That's all you need to say. I can't talk about the situation right now. That's all you need to say.
That's what I wanted to, ask you as well. When it comes to Romelu Lukaku, he is someone who knows that this person has gone on to the media after, his time in Everton. I mean, though he is a friend, but then he still works on the media. If I was in Romelu Lukaku's situation, I would have been even more careful.
exactly. That's why he needs to. He should have been less. I can't even call it naivety, really. He
Should
should
be
have been.
diligent.
He should be. He should be more intelligent and say, "Do you know what? You're my friend, but I don't know which angle you're coming at with this." And even then, he could have gone, "Okay, so I'm going to tell you this, but you can't tell anyone else. And if you tell anyone else, I'm going to print what I'm going to print.
Defamation.
Hang on, I'll be back.
Alright. Guys, we've got Winter Surfer talking to us about Romelu Lukaku. He's going to be right back. But just my request to you guys, if you love the stream, you like the stream, press that like button as well. We've been having a very good conversation with Andrew. Hopefully you like it. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask Andrew, please leave that on the comment section. We'll take that up as well as and when we talk to Andrew. Quickly, we'll touch upon the Lukaku situation and we'll go to the Liverpool post-match review that a lot of you guys are waiting for. And Andrew is back.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
So back to the Lukaku thing. You're right. Like I said, I would have just liked to say no comment or I can't comment on it and leave it like that because it just makes it even more because like Tuchel then afterwards already confirmed it. And if Tuchel, Nick Lou, I agree. If Tuchel thinks he deserves a second chance, I'm fine, and I'll leave it until everyone goes. Oh yeah, well, you get this mixed message in the Chelsea community. Yeah, we should back Tuchel. Oh, but I want him. I want Lukaku gone. Well, what if Tuchel wants Lukaku to stay? You got to back the manager, right? Yeah,
basically contradicting the first statement.
Yeah, he's done this, and this. Wait, yeah, but what if Tuchel wants to keep him?
You said you're going to support Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You said you'd back the manager. But if he does stay, like I said, he needs to stop talking and do all his talking on the pitch. That's all he needs to do.
MCIG says, I've interpreted Lukaku's interview the best way possible when they first were leaked, but no fans should get behind players escalating this issue with Tuchel's system in the public square. I was actually worried about this, if I'm to be honest with you. I thought the dressing room could have been, there could have been a rift that was created in the dressing room because it cannot be a situation where only Romelu Lukaku has an issue with the system. Obviously, Hakim Ziyech is not playing in the right place that he wants to be. Pulisic is probably playing in multiple positions. Timo Werner doesn't have his own position. Every single player who's playing on the pitch, most of them actually are playing in a different position.
Who is?
Because that
hardly anyone is.
And if one person is complaining, obviously everyone has the right to do the same. So I was actually worried about it. What if this goes on to, a drift in the dressing room where, there are a few people that are aligned to Lukaku and there are a few folks that are aligned to Thomas Tuchel. That is when the board will make a natural choice of picking the players first and not the managers. Because the financial value both of these guys bring to the club is completely different. And they eventually have to go towards the side of the managers. And that is what I was actually worried about. And gladly, the performance yesterday showed that most of the players are associated with the managers. They wanted to fight for the game. They wanted to fight for their place. They wanted to fight for the team, and the team showed a lot of character. So I'm happy with that particular performance. It showed me a lot of, things that I basically was worried about is not true. King of CFC has a question for you. Do you think Lukaku deserves a chance to play against City? You've got a Tottenham game before, but yeah, let's go with City.
The thing is, it's not. Listen. I'm gonna do this. My answer for most of these questions is very simple. I back what Thomas Tuchel decides. If Thomas Tuchel thinks Lukaku is ready against City, we've got a few games. We've got like 3 games ahead of that. Then he'll play against City. I think that should be the mindset of all Chelsea fans now. Stop arguing with each other with what Lukaku's done. What whether you would bring him back. That's not the important thing. It's now to make sure that this club does something it hasn't done for the past 15 years, and that's back a manager properly. And also then what that manager decides to do. The manager decides to slowly integrate Lukaku, fine. If he decides he's got no future here, fine. If he decides he has and wants to use him, I will back Thomas Tuchel. And that should be the end of it then. Whether you choose to boo Lukaku or not, I personally wouldn't. That's up to you. But if you can't then come, like we just discussed about 2 or 3 minutes ago, you can't come out with the statement, I'm going to back Thomas Tuchel, but then say, oh yeah, but Lukaku should still go if Thomas Tuchel decides to keep him around, right? You can't do that. It sends the wrong message from you to others, and it doesn't make any sense. So if he decides to play against City, if that is Thomas Tuchel's wish, then I will back him 100%.
Makes sense. And one more question towards this topic only. MCIG says, yes, there are already rumors that Lukaku has allies, players who spoke up for him. What do you have to say about these players? I mean, how would you classify the situation for them? Would they still have to be treated the same way that Lukaku has been treated? Or should they be sold in the next transfer window? Or do you think Tuchel has to have a one-on-one with them?
Listen, I don't know. First of all, let's take it like that is true, right? Because I've seen that story being debunked by others, but they haven't come out the way Lukaku has. First of all, it'd be a lot different if they had, because then you could go, okay, there needs to be, it might be easier that they haven't come out, because then Tuchel's only got Lukaku to worry about. It's natural if you're not playing, or you may not be playing in a natural position, or what you think is your natural position, you come out and say something. Okay, then what have you done to deserve that position? For example, we're not saying it is, but let's say one of them is Hakim Ziyech. Yeah, what have you consistently done for the past whatever month or
2 years?
months, 2 years? Let's say that makes you go, yeah, I should definitely be in the team no matter what. What have you done? What have you done? You haven't done. You've shown bits and pieces here and there. You're good.
But Andrew,
actually very, very good.
Andrew,
but that's it.
Let's say one thing. If I was Hakim Ziyech, I'm going to argue with you, and if you were Thomas Tuchel, this is what I'd argue with you, right? You did not put me in the right position to play me for the last 2 years, and that is why I was not able to perform.
Okay. No, and I understand that, but you have played in other positions before. And you played well, like you played like a false nine against City a couple of times, FA Cup semi-final, the league match. What have you done to, you've actually, like this season, you played a couple of good games against Watford and a few others. But then what have you done consistently? I put you in these games, like the game against West Ham. What did you do in that game? You didn't do anything, right? You're supposed to be one of the most experienced players in this squad. You're like 29. Coming up to 29. Why aren't you leading these young guys? Why are we relying on our defence? Why are we relying on Mason Mount? No matter however you think he's playing, I personally think he's not playing as good as he was last season, but his numbers don't show that. Why are we relying on him, who's not an attacker like you are, to hold this team up? And that's the same for Havertz, Pulisic, everything else like that. The reason we have issues with our attack is, first of all, he can't find a combination that clicks all at the same time. And whether you'll say, oh, he rotates a lot, but they're all misfiring. It's like, I don't know, VJ, if you noticed over the last couple of days how many people have started propping up Timo Werner all of a sudden.
Yeah. For his behavior.
Yeah, and it's like, that's great, but what's going to happen 2 or 3 games into a run of his, you're going to be complaining, why is he in this team? So do you know what I mean? It's like, it'll go to anyone, isn't it? Like I said, I'd love for Chelsea just to go. I'd love for somehow the players not to find out, but Thomas Tuchel to give an interview and actually tell us what he thinks of this squad individually and whether he wants them or not. I'd love to do that without like the players or anyone like media probably find out, like, just tell us fans, we're the only ones who know and we can't tell anyone. Some weird magical spell that happens and then makes everyone forget. And it's like, I'm still telling you, VJ, I don't know if there's a high percentage of players that he wants in this squad. I really don't. That's why I think he insists on sticking to this 3-4-3, because up until recently, it's been very good defensively. It's been able to bail us out. Do you know what I mean? And now it's like, that's what I mean. That's why I think the next 2 transfer windows are very key to see whether we're going to back him or not. Because we have desperate need for wing backs or this transfer window. So.
Yeah, having talked about transfer window, there you go. An important news. Thanks Dylan for
Oh,
informing
has he
us in the
signed?
comment section.
Oh, okay, good.
Thiago Silva is staying, says Marino Granaskaya. Thiago Silva extends the Chelsea contract. Let's probably read through how many years has he extended. I'm
Probably
guessing
another
one
year,
year.
right? One
Yeah.
year, 1 year. But it's nice and early this time. I remember last year it was like after the Champions League final, wasn't it? So
Mm.
it's not. You know, I still don't believe he's 37, VG. I think he's like 27. I'm just sorry. It's just something. There's no way a 36-year-old comes in when comes into this league and plays the way he does. It just doesn't happen. It's just he's immense. You know what? I'm so glad. I just wish I'm not even wishing for him to be 10 years. I just wish he was 5 years younger, because he'd still be there for another 5-10 years. He's just immense, and I think this is good PR as well to get this out like as soon as possible, because we're worried about the contracts. I think
No, I agree.
Christensen and
I mean, at least we got this.
Christensen and Rudiger are gone, so I think they're gone. And like there's even doubts about Aspilicueta. There's a report that he wants 2 years with an option of third, which is never going to happen. But you know.
It says Thiago Silva's time at Chelsea will continue into 2022-23 after the defender extended his contract at the club by one more year. The 37-year-old also opened the scoring in an away fixture at Tottenham and West Ham, and added the Super Cup to his collection after a trump in Belfast. So there you go. This is Marina Granaskaya's words as well on Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva's experience, leadership, and performance have been and remain very important to this squad. So we are hugely pleased to extend his contract by another year. We look forward to his continued influence as we seek honors this season, next, and more of qualities that have led him to have such a big impact for us on and off the pitch. Love to hear this actually from Marina. And Thiago Silva says this: to play here with Chelsea is a real pleasure. I never thought I would play for 3 years here in this great club. So I'm very happy to stay for another season. Wow, this is lovely. I would also like to say thank you to my family, the club, Marina, and Mr. Abrahamovich for this opportunity. I will continue to give everything for this club and for the supporters who have always been my side since I arrived. It's amazing to have a relationship with the fans, and not only that, but also with the players, staff, and whole club. I'm going to give everything to keep playing at this level in the most important league in the world. Thiago Silva's new deal will run until the conclusion of 2022-23 season, midway through which he will also be hoping to represent Brazil at the World Cup in Qatar, having remained a regular for the Selcao in qualifying. He recently made his 100th appearance for his country. 100th appearance, guys. 100th appearance for Brazil. While Thiago Silva's Chelsea tally of games stands at 56 after yesterday's draw with Liverpool. There you go, 56 appearance.
Wow. I mean,
since he's extended the contract, let's probably talk a bit about Thiago Silva. Yeah, go on.
He's just immense. I mean, I'm really surprised that even during this second season how much he's actually played this season. Yesterday again, he was just. I know they scored 2 goals, but you can't really blame Thiago for any of them, really. I mean, don't let him play against West Brom. Obviously, that's his kryptonite. But but listen, I think it's good. I think it's good, especially if we're going to keep the likes of Chalobah around. You bring in like a possible Koundé as well. I think it's needed for his experience, because let's face it, I think Rudiger's gone. I think Christensen's gone, and it looks like sadly in terms of keeping him around, just maybe next year we're going to lose Aspilicueta as well. And it's like, so you start off looking at the moment. You start off with 2 recognised centre backs next year of Chalobah and Thiago Silva. So in essence, we're going to have to buy a minimum of 2 centre backs, or even 2 centre backs, and promote another youth team player, like a Kovacic, whatever his name is. And it's Liam Caldwell, yeah. I just think for development of Chalobah, I think it's really good to keep Thiago Silva around. He's obviously great influence in the dressing room, off the pitch. You can tell he's settled in. I mean, I don't know if you follow his wife on Instagram or any other social media.
Yeah,
she's just,
you know what?
she's amazing.
I saw a Twitter comment which said Thiago Silva's wife is more dedicated to Chelsea Football Club than Romelu Lukaku. I didn't know what to say.
I'm more excited. Listen. There's a little bit of me that's more excited that she's staying around for another year than him, because she just. I like the way she learns the songs at the ground. You know, she sings like, "Oh, Thiago," you know, and you know when she's watching an away game, she's sitting in like Chelsea onesie or Chelsea pajamas or something like that. I'm glad some families don't embrace that, and you know, and at the end of his career as well, for them to actually embrace everything just shows what a class act he is on and off the pitch. And you know, he's already. He's not a legend. He might be a legend. He'll go down as a legend of the game. At the moment, he's not a legend for Chelsea, but he's certainly rising fast.
Yeah.
In the Chelsea fan base's minds, in my opinion, he's just outstanding. Like I said, he's not 37. I think he's like 27. I refuse to believe he's 37.
Sometimes you do this, cheating stuff in your birth certificate, right? Something like that has happened probably with Thiago Silva.
I swear, he's like he ages in terms of numbers, but his body hasn't. It's like he freezes himself, like after every game or something. You know, cryogenically frozen, and he's just done. But he's just exceptional. I'm glad. I think that was good PR that we were able to do that very quickly. Sort of get people focused more positively on things at Chelsea. At this moment in time, I bet Thomas Tuchel was glad as well. So, and that's
agreed. I guess they come as a a combination or something, because they came from PSG, both of them together, maybe one season before Thiago Silva came here. But they kind of work well together. That's something that we can all agree on. This is Dylan's comment on Thiago Silva. He says he's fantastic. It's brilliant how early we get this contract renewal. It never happens for us to have early renewals. We need Rudiger next, though. Again, Rudiger and Christensen situation. Who would you prioritize? One's got the age, one's got the talent.
I'd prioritize Rudiger. So I'll tell you why. I think we can sign Koundé, and I think he's better than Christensen overall. That's not me down. Listen, I'm not having anything against Christensen. I'm not saying he's a rubbish player. I think he's developed really well. But I just think that Rudiger's another one, right? It's to guide these young players, whatever your opinion of Rudiger is with some of the young players or not in the past, just to have him there. You saw him yesterday. He was just he must be horrible to play against as an opposition player. He's one of those. And he's, you know what, whether you say he's playing for a contract or anything like that, that's fine. I do believe he would stay, VJ, if we offered near to 200 for him. I think he would stay. I think the 400 is obviously the free transfer and everything. But I would definitely prioritize him, only because Christensen's really, really naffed me off. Because it's like you've agreed things, then you haven't agreed things, you know. Yeah, you've done well, but remember who brought you back to the dance, and that was Thomas Tuchel. Same with Rudiger. But Rudiger was more, I think Rudiger stems from more like he got some real horrible abuse in the last few days of Lampard and everything like that. But Christensen, he's the first successful Cobham graduate since He's the first successful youth team product since John Terry. Everyone keeps forgetting that. But I don't like the way he's like, especially when he's waiting for Barcelona to come in. I mean, Barcelona can't register players yet because of the wage structure. It's like, you'll sign a contract, but you're not going to be registered in time. And
Fabrizio has come out and said that Barcelona president seems very confident in the club getting back on track, and they're going to have to attract big names, and they're ready to do that, it seems. I'm not sure how financially feasible that is.
Maybe the banks in Catalonia suddenly forked up some more money, right? Something like that, which often happens at the Madrid as well with their royal family connections. But I think you get Chalobah, you get obviously Thiago Silva. I'd sign Koundé, and maybe you go back to Rudiger and say you make a choice. You go Rudiger or Christensen, and I would personally go for go for Rudiger for all of those things. Christensen's got the age, obviously, 3 years younger, but I don't know. There's something about Rudiger, and he I think he is like a Chelsea. Not that he is a Chelsea fan, but he's like a Chelsea fan on the pitch, with just the intensity and everything like that. And we are missing a load of them. As great as Thiago Silva is, I think Rudiger's more in. He's there, and he allows Rudiger to be bring more of the intensity, more of the craphousery, as we put it, and stuff like that. But I would do that. But we definitely need to buy. If he goes, we definitely need to buy 2 centre backs in the summer. That goes without saying, and that takes up a lot of whatever money's been allotted. So.
Yeah, makes sense. And would you agree to the statement from MCIG? For me, Rudy is 250k week player, and Christensen is a 150k per week player.
I don't know if Rudy's 250. I think he's around 200 because there's not a lot of defenders like him. He might not be the top draw. I think he's very close. Christensen, I think Christensen's about right. I think we offered him, didn't we? Was it 140 we offered or something like that? Around that. Rumored to be, we offered that. And it's like, and the thing about Christensen.
The problem is we offered the same to Rudiger as well.
That's the problem. And I know why Rudiger has rejected it, because he's seen people on way more money than what he's been offered that aren't even playing a lot. Like, no matter what you think of them, I mean, Cho's on between 150, 180 a week or something like that. Even like Kepa's on 155 a week. Like,
but you still could argue that they are, strikers. Werner getting that much paid is not something that you can compare with Rudiger, right? Because the defensive wages are a bit different.
So even Chilwell's on 190.
That one you can argue,
yeah. So you could go, okay, I need to make a round rough same, but we're not even offering that apparently. We're offering like 140, 150. So it's like, sometimes Chelsea, you're going to have to. Sometimes I don't like this with it. They do like to penny pinch sometimes, and it goes. They like to offer what they think the player is worth, when it's like when it comes to like numbers, and it's like
they don't look at the market.
Go look at the market, because everyone goes, oh yeah, well, why don't we just buy Matthias de Ligt? Okay, so that's 60 to 80 million, first of all, and that's over 250 grand a week. So while he's got the age, we're still forking out a load of money. And even Kunde's like, what, 24? I think he's going to be like between 40 and 60 million euros. And I don't know what the wages are, whether it's near 200 grand or not. We're still going to, and we've got this guy listen, I don't mind him finding the biggest bidder, but if he were to come with a realistic offer in his eyes and go, even if it's like, do you know what? It's not 200, but we'll give you 190. I think he might even take that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's at least it's high. It's on parity with what some of these players. I think he just wants that.
The parity.
I get it. I don't believe these reports. He's ever asking us for 400 grand. I believe that's to other clubs. I believe I believe if we have to go to parity of near to 200, I believe he'd take it. I might be foolish, but I believe he would take it.
Yeah, I mean 190 or 200 with an offer to live in London. That's a good one, at least for people like us. But it's Rudiger's call. End of the day.
Yeah, I mean we're like listen, 140, 70, 10 grand a week, 1 grand a week. We'll take that. I mean, we're 750 a week. Pounds, 750 pounds a week. That's fine. It's crazy to think of, but when you have to take up real world. Like, I
mean, there are certain things that you also have to, calculate, right? They're not going to earn for 50 years, like how we work. In fact, even if you consider those inflations, they'll still earn more, but then they also put that amount of work. So, it makes a lot of sense. Guys, just for people who are watching, 15 minutes, we'll talk about the Liverpool-Chelsea preview. Why am I saying preview? The post-match reactions, and we'll open up the stream. We'll open up the stream for you guys to come in and have your say as well. Let's go to Andrew to talk to him about the thoughts of this particular game, Chelsea versus Liverpool. Absolutely entertaining. First half was like a thriller. I was doing a watch along. I was not able to sit in my seat and do a watch along, but it was that good. very energetic right from the first moment of the game. First thing that we want to probably discuss about is without even 1 minute into the game, that
6
one
seconds.
should
6 seconds.
Should it have been a red card?
I think nowadays, yes. Because remember, people are getting sent off when they even get the ball and then the follow through in the tackle. And people might go, well, he's not swinging and he's not looking at the ball. It's a very forceful arm. It's not an elbow, by the way. It's not an elbow. It's more of a forearm. But it is an almighty whack. And I think two things come into play. I think one thing definitely comes into play. I think if that's later in the match, you might be seeing a red card for that.
Yeah.
I think they bottled it, really, with that. I'm not one of these that, we're going to have to wait for it to be later in the game. So I always ask these people, so what if he two-footed them and broke his leg after 6 seconds? Would you still say, oh no, it's still too early in the match, you're going to have them off? And it's like, I think he's very lucky, because I always think it's, you know what, Vijay, when people talk about VAR, it's not the system, it's who's controlling the system at the time and what their opinions are we have to worry about or look into.
Yeah.
So I think he got saved because it was only 6 seconds into the match and possibly he wasn't looking. I know he wasn't looking, but possibly that saved him as well. I think if he'd been looking, I think he goes. I really do. I think he should have gone anyway. After 24 hours after looking at it again, I think he should have gone because he wasn't in control. It was reckless, right? It was still reckless. Correct. So I think he should have gone.
I mean, giving out cards progressively in the match, depending on the match's situation and the minutes we are in the game, doesn't really give out a clear signal for the players to act accordingly as well. I mean, that's exactly the question Azpilicueta was asking in the press as well yesterday. I mean, it happened early in the game, but what is the difference between it happening early in the game and it was happening in the 85th minute? I mean, how we as a player can relate to it, or how we as a player can know when these guys are going to give card or not?
There's a fascinating
I don't think so was wrong there.
There's a fascinating one the other week between Spurs and Liverpool, if you remember, when Harry Kane made that tackle and it wasn't looked at all and it was yellow, and then Robinson made an outrageous kick and everything, and that was looked at, and it's like, that's what I say. It depends who's running the VAR at the time, not the actual VAR system. The VAR system works well. It's who's running it. That's the problem, and that's what we face. And we'll probably talk about it a bit later on. There was a thing with Mason Mount as well later on in the match, which I thought I thought all in all he was lucky as well. If I'm being honest, I know he didn't make contact, but the thing is, it's the initiation of trying to make contact or nearly making contact that you.
31st minute foul, right?
Yeah, 31st minute. Him and Shimikas. I don't know if that was their first or second clash. I think they had one just before or something like that. But yeah, I thought Mount on another day could count himself very lucky. That was my problem as well, Vijay. I know we started off very high intensity, but I thought we sort of spilled over into that, and we got too intense and too manic, which allowed us to go 2-0 down. Yeah, essentially. But yeah, I thought on another day that could have been a red card each. But we never know, right? Because say if they got a red card, that Mount thing may not have happened. Do you know what I mean? Right. It's one of those, isn't it? So it's like
we would have been. In the hindsight, when we look at it, it might be, we can make a lot of, speculations on it, but then the match could have gone entirely different if the first red card was given. Maybe Mount didn't even have to do that. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And quickly going into the, other folks as well, that was on Azpilicueta. Trevor Chalobah on the defense looked a bit shaky in the start, but then started to get his grip on the game. Your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I think I don't know whether it's one or two things, that clearance, whether he doesn't trust his left foot or he was still like with this, whether he still had a hamstring issue and he didn't want to overstretch it. But then again, he did a really good job of stopping it becoming 3-0 later in the game, later in the half. And listen, Trevor Chalobah, I know there's some people that think he's not good enough, and I'm thinking he's had less than 5 months of top flight football. He's I think he may have played too many games, given our certain injury crisis and contract issues and stuff like that. But I think he'll learn, and I think for the rest of the game after that mistake, I think he was good. There was some phases of play where he tried to get the ball too early, and Mane was able to work his way around him, like for that shot in the second half. But other than that, until he went off, I thought he steadied himself and got his head back in the game, because it was quite easy for a young player like that to go off the rails and let it affect him for the rest of the game. But I think Chalobah will learn with that. And now he's got Thiago staying for another year, like he's there for at least another 18 months. He can learn off one of the best in the world, and we'll see that. Hopefully, we see that progression from him.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Trevor Chalobah has time to learn, and of course, his performances against the deadliest combo in terms of attack in the league and probably in the world itself. So sometimes we will be a bit harsh on folks when we are judging them. This is one of the youngest defender that we have brought straight from the academy, so we'll have to also consider those factors as well. MCIG says refs hate us, they got an agenda. No yellow card on the Kova steals and breakaway while trying to screw us and stop a momentum. Many fouls on our players were not called. MCIG being very articulate here about the Chelsea agenda against Chelsea. Any thoughts there? Would you like to calm down MCIG here?
MCIG, I see you on other forums, mate. You're always good to me and everything like that. I don't know if there's like a whole conspiracy against this. What I found funny was after that Kovacic goal, they were still trying to see if there was an offside from Rudiger. And it's like, no bloody way can you call that. If they'd done that, I would have I may have gone and joined MCIG with the other tinfoil hat wearing people and gone, yeah, there's definitely a conspiracy, because that makes you. If it's funny, if you've seen the sideline video of Tuchel when they're going through that, he's going something. I'll paraphrase it.
He basically said that let's go home. He basically said that let's go home.
Let's go home. Yeah. And, but yeah, I'm not sure there's a conspiracy. There's no conspiracy. And funny enough, Anthony Taylor was very quiet in that game. He had no influence on that game whatsoever.
Usually when Anthony Taylor refs. Yeah. The match is about Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. We were our own undoing yesterday by two sloppy pieces of defending, and it took two world-class goals, or one definite world-class goal and goal of the season, and then a great piece of play. So
before it slips my mind, I was listening to Don Robbie as well in the Arsenal TV when they were doing this watch along. He himself said that, you know what, if the goal is not given to Chelsea right now, I'm gonna go to the war room and smash them. So basically, even they were pissed off.
That's right, because it was mad. They were going checking offside. It's like, how could we check? What is it? If no one's offside there, the man's hit it outside the box onto the post and it's gone in. There's no offside there. There's no one in his way. Kelleher was never going to stop that shot. He was never, ever going to stop that shot. No goalie probably would have stopped that shot. It was an unbelievable strike. Unbelievable. And that's the problem, isn't it now, VJ? I instantly react when we score goals, and then I go, oh shit, VAR's going to have to check. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it stops me, I'm like, and then even yesterday's took too long, and it took the initial joy out of it, but obviously I'm glad it stood.
Sometimes that moment gets lost for the fans, right? The celebration, once you know the ball is in the back of the net, you want to celebrate. You don't have to immediately turn to your friends and ask, you know what, is there an offside here? Is VAR going to check it?
Do you remember Chilwell in the FA Cup final? Like everyone was going mad. Like going, and we scored, and then his shoelace is offside.
Another moment.
And it's taken away. That's what I mean. Everyone's going, we got it last minute. Yes, we're going to go on and win the FA Cup. And then it's just we were all going. I was on the stream and I was going mad. I was like, yes. And then they went, they're checking VAR. Oh, for God's sake.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, that takes the celebration, the moment from us fans. Nick Blue says goal of the season. We'll come to that, but before that, I want Andrew's opinion on Trevor Chalobah's aggravated hamstring problem. How much of a concern is this for Chelsea Football Club?
Well, it's pretty big because we don't know Christensen's back issue, and then if he doesn't play, it doesn't mean that Aspilicueta has to play another game in a row. But right centre back, or do we have to play Malang Sarr? Or if Aspilicueta has to play right centre back, then who do we play at right wing back? Do we play Cho or do we play Pulisic? Because I don't know about you, Vijay. This Tottenham semi-finals are going to be very close, in my opinion. It's going to be won by the odd goal, and we're running out of defenders at this moment in time. And we're going to have to start like putting in Muyamba or whatever his name is.
Xavier Muyamba.
Yeah, and it's like Langsar. Okay, I don't really rate you that highly. But you might have to come in for these 2 days, because what I'm thinking is that Chesterfield, I think he's going to rotate the entire team against Chesterfield, or the bulk of the team, because it's Chesterfield. And ironically, now because we're in the semi-final of the League Cup, that's more of a priority than the FA Cup this season, which is insane to say for some people. Not for me, because I rate the League Cup higher. But yeah, I just it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, whoever Tuchel's pick, I'll back Tuchel. So
yeah. Let's see. Hopefully, this isn't a major concern for Chelsea Football Club. Hopefully, we're able to replace Chalobah until he gets back, and we wish him a speedy recovery from the hamstring injury. We do not know the level of tear as well, so that's an interest. That is something that we need to get an update from Thomas Tuchel probably in next press conference, maybe. MCIG's.
Great fit Kunde in January.
Yeah, actually a great time, because this is the right time, if at all there was one, because this is something that Thomas Tuchel can stress to the board. You know what? I've got a player in the medic room. He's not available. Could you please go and get? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And now to the wonder goal of Kovacic. Would you consider that the goal of the season, or do you have any other contender? The one that comes close is the Salah goal, but
you mean overall? Sorry.
Season.
It's definitely Chelsea's goal of the season. That goes without saying. Before that, I was on another stream where we rated our goals in the season. And I had Reece James's first goal against Newcastle, where he took it down with his right and then swung it in with his left. But I can't think of one. The closest one I can think of, but he was coming onto it, was Michael Essien's one against Barcelona. He hit it on his left. It's the closest, but I can't. It's not the same because he's coming on. He's sort of coming onto it with his left foot. Obviously, it's his weaker foot, as we know. But that was just ridiculous.
I don't even think this was a fluke. I think he was trying to place it by coming behind.
I don't think it's a fluke. I think he meant that. Let me just tell you right now. He meant that goal, yeah? Whether it hit the post or not, doesn't matter. He meant to hit that the way it was, yeah? The way it was. Whether it hit the post, probably was, he made it, obviously made it tougher for the goalkeeper. But, yeah, he was always, that was a shot, and there's no way, that it's not, I don't even know if anyone trying to say he didn't mean that, but he definitely meant that. Definitely.
Agreed, 100%. And also, I'm going to share a video with you, with all of us. And this is something, a good question actually asked by the tweet, the person who posted on the tweet. Even I wanted to know the answer for that. The title is, "Does Lukaku press like this?" And this is something that I'd like to hear your perspective on. Why is my tweet loading? Oh my God. My internet that slow. Yeah, there you go.
Advantage, good cover by Alexander-Arnold.
Let me play it from the phone.
Yeah, watch the sound just in case you get copyrighted.
Chelsea's advantage, good cover by Alex.
Yeah.
That was a press instigated by Havertz, and then Mount was there, and Pulisic was also behind. Marcus Alonso was trying to cover from the left flank. I think the system is more fluidic without Lukaku, if I'm being honest here. Lukaku is more of a gunman who stands there. He doesn't contribute to the press. It's almost having a Ronaldo in your press that you want to implement in your system. I think the one thing Ragnick is still missing is Ronaldo not pressing high enough, or fast enough, or not combining with the players when he presses. Could that be the same issue with Romelu Lukaku?
It could be. I agree he doesn't press as much. I think he offers something else, though, that, like I say, Kai doesn't. Like, I think he's more physical than Kai. Like, we saw it when he came in against Villa, right? Okay, it's Villa, yeah. But he occupied those two central defenders by himself and bullied them, right? He got that header, and I thought he played well. Other ways, he played off the right a bit, made the run. Even against Brighton, which makes such a shame what's happened, because the last two performances of Lukaku I think have been great. Brighton, he actually showed more of a pressing style actually, and he was running all over the place. It's just that no one matched it at all. The issue is you have to, if you're going to play with Lukaku, it's fine. That's fine, right? Who's the best two to play with him, or the best one? Who's the best to get out to get the best out of him? Because if you remember, VJ, all right, he's not scored a lot of goals. He's still got a good conversion rate. But how many times have we seen this season where he's been denied an assist this season? Yeah, he's been denied loads of assists, hasn't he? I mean, even the
he provides left, right, and center actually.
Yeah, I mean,
actually, he's someone who tries to provide rather than to score as his first option.
Yeah, I think he's got. That's what I mean. People underestimate that even now. They say, "Oh, he's got a crap touch." He's not got the best touch. It's not the worst touch. It has improved. I believe he does move. I don't believe he's that static. I believe he does move when he wants to, and he can do that because we saw it against Brighton, right? We saw it against Brighton. Now, conspiracy theory time, VJ. Did he do that because he knew the interview was coming out?
It could be. I mean, I was thinking the same. It could be. I mean, he started moving a lot, which was so evident in the Brighton game. Before that, he did not do it even a single time. I was like, some sort of an instruction has come from Thomas Tuchel. That was my understanding from the last two performances. But it could be because of this as well.
But I mean, he's such a physical specimen, dominant force up there that he will bully him. If you play with Lukaku, you've got to expect. And then probably Tuchel's a very smart man. That at the moment in time, you can't expect a lot of pressing from him. That's something that Lukaku said he would amend and adapt to. So he's still got to do that, yeah. And he hasn't had he's got to get the run of games back in him. If he does come back, let's preface that. But if he does come back, then you've got to find the right two with him. I would love to see how he plays with Pulisic. I've not seen it this season. I've not seen how he plays with Pulisic. Yeah. Yeah. And also, do we change the style? Do we change it to a 3-5-2? I'm not a personal fan of 3-5-2, but then we could see the best out of Mason Mount in a position that I think he's best at, which is an 8, a very hard-working 8. You know, up at the scores now and again. But if he plays 3-4-3, you've got to find the best combination. And Chelsea fans have got to suck it up as well. If their best player isn't playing, like all these stupid player hives, like Cho, Havertz, Werner, Mount, or Pulisic. If they're not playing, you've got to trust the manager, right? Because everyone's saying back the manager. So that means your player hives have got to non-exist now. You've got to back the manager.
That should take a step back. Makes sense.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see. But yeah,
I mean, I'm someone against this player hypes, right? I'm someone who is against the player hypes. The primary reason is because, let's take Ronaldo fans, right? I'm not even sure if they're Real Madrid fans or Manchester United fans or Juventus fans for that right now. They supported Manchester United because Ronaldo was there, and then they started Real Madrid supporting Real Madrid, and because Ronaldo was there, and now Juventus, and now back to Manchester United. I mean, the club is taking a back step, and you basically are supporting a player, which means that you have probably 13, 15 years to support a player, and then what? You probably have to find another player to support. But clubs are not that way. You still can support the club for your entire life, right? So it gives a lot of consistency when you start supporting. Guys, we've got 2 more minutes before we pull you guys into the stream. Final question for Andrew, because I know I've been asking a lot of questions to Andrew. Very patiently, he's been responding to each and every single one of them. I know Andrew is someone who likes to be in a stream where there are a lot of people as well, but this is more of a one-to-one.
No. Let me just say, that's true if everyone can hear each other and not shout over each other, which you've probably experienced sometimes as well, VJ. It's hard to.
Yeah.
And there's like 10 people in there. It's very hard.
I actually don't like that, but
I don't like it. I don't like it either. That's why if you sometimes see me, I don't say a lot because it's like the noise is like too much. But yeah, this is good, man. Like, look, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, it's all good, man.
That's amazing. Final question for you: if you want to say, if you want to brief the performance of Chelsea against Liverpool in a few words, how would you do that? And are we ready? I wouldn't ask for a title right now, but are we ready to win a trophy this year?
I think we are ready to win a trophy this year. I think we will win at least 1 more trophy, possibly 2 more trophies this year. I think that might, I think that might be one of the domestic cups and the World Club Cup. Yesterday's performance. I'm going to say 2 words that probably don't get put a lot together. Exciting chaos. Yeah.
Okay.
Only because I'll tell you right now, if City were playing either team yesterday, they would have destroyed us. They would have destroyed us. As much as I love Kante and Kovacic in that midfield, there were still massive gaps in that midfield that City could easily exploit, and the same with Liverpool. That game for me showed why City are so far ahead of both teams. That's what that demonstrated to me.
Good, you actually talked about the midfield, Andrew. I do have a follow-up question here. A lot of people in our fan base do not seem to understand what Jorginho actually brings to this midfield. If you can comprehend, I mean, I know you would have comprehended what basically, Jorginho brings into this, setup. Can you talk us through what is the importance of having a Jorginho there in our squad? A lot of people are of the impression he's actually slowing down the game and he is not been contributing. His passes are always sidewards and all that. Can you talk to us about Jorginho's importance in the squad?
Let me preface this. I've already said Jorginho is not my favourite player. But I understand. I've been more of a defensive of him because people seem to scapegoat him for a lot of things when things go wrong. You're right. Sometimes his play is too slow, but I think it's needed to bring. Like yesterday was you had to balance when he brought on because it sort of took our momentum away, but it sort of gave us a bit more balance in midfield, made us more solid because you could see Liverpool were just starting to get a little bit on top. They had better chances than us in the second half. And I think Jorginho, I don't think he's seeing the best of Jorginho at the moment because he's being overplayed. You know what I mean? With the injuries to Kante and Kovacic and Salah not working out, you couldn't rotate Jorginho. And I think that, so because of that, his level and his levels are slightly going down. But I think Jorginho is needed. He sort of brings a balance and a calmness to a team. It also, depending on the formation, we saw it last season in the semi-finals of the FA Cup and the Champions League when you've got he's there to basically sit back, let the others do their thing of man marking people out of the game, control and spread the ball backwards, forwards, stuff like that. So there's a calming influence. I mean, he's not my favourite or first choice in midfield, but I know what he brings. I'm more appreciative of what he brings. I mean, we saw it during the Euros, really, and the run. Even though I thought Kante had a better Champions League run than him, you could see what Jorginho. We don't win. I don't think we win that Champions League without Jorginho. As much as Kante was awesome during the quarterfinals onwards, I just think he just brings order and balance and safety.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think people around him are more appreciative. I think people in the team are more appreciative than some of the fans.
Can we try and tag that exciting chaos that you just referred to Jorginho as well?
No. He's more of a He's more
a calming influence.
Calmly influenced, I would say. Yes, there's no way that game was. that game, the way it planned out, you could not start with Jorginho in that game, the way it was going. However, he might be better suited for the City game coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah. Just the way to balance and play and everything like that. So, and he might be even better for the League Cup games coming up as well. Just the way, because obviously Conte, the way he plays and everything like that, the balance in midfield. But listen, Jorginho, I think, gets harsh criticism. I understand it sometimes. It's not everyone's favourite. He's not flashy, and stuff like that. And I think we can listen. If you can get better, get better. And I think he will go possibly in the summer as well, just to go back to Italy. Not that I want rid of him, but just that he's done what? He's done 4 seasons. He's won all the European trophies he can win with us. So I think he's done his bit. But listen, Jorginho, he's appreciated in my eyes. I know what he does, and I know what he can't do. So therefore, my level of expectation for him is logical than some others.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, guys. We've pinged in the chat window the StreamYard link as well. If you want to join in, it's just a click away. Just click on it, and then you will be live with us. And if you have any questions for Winter Surfer, you can just ask him as well. I do have one more question for Winter Surfer before you guys jump in. This is on the transfer window. If you want to offload 2 or 3 players from this squad, who would that be? I know the first answer. I mean, the answer that you're going to give is probably Thomas Tuchel, whoever he prefers to offload. I'm fine with it, and everyone are. Yeah. But if it was your choice,
so if you can bring in 2 better left wing backs, then I'd get rid of Alonso. If you can bring in 2, I think Luca Digne looks good. I think Chelsea are going to try and be cheap and try and get a loan deal for him, not an actual deal. I don't know who the other one would be. I mean, there's links to Teo Hernandez, but that's 60 million, and I don't know if they'll do that. I'd say if you can bring in a Tchouaméni and send Saul back, I would. I don't hate Saul. I just think he's been dealt a rough hand, essentially.
Yeah.
And also Ruben Loftus-Cheek, as well as he's progressed, he's sort of stagnated in that role. And all depends on the Lukaku situation, I suppose. I think if he doesn't want to play, or we're trying to sell him, I think we have to buy a striker. Whether that's whether that they try and say, do you know what, screw it, for this time we'll just buy Haaland and accept he's going to leave in 2.5 years' time, which I don't think he will, or they'll go for a Vlahovic. But it depends what, like I said, what's the profile that the player, the manager wants. Does he want a false 9? Does he want an out-and-out striker? But I would definitely. Koundé definitely. I'd buy Koundé. I'd buy Koundé. Koundé would be my Koundé, Tchouaméni. If we could get just this, and I know it sounds ridiculous, if we get Koundé, Tchouaméni, Digne, and some type of right back, a decent right back, then because Reece James obviously will be back, hopefully be back by around early March time. Then I think that's good, and I don't want them like deals for like summer. I'd want them in January. I'd want them to come in January. So that's what I would do.
Makes sense. And there's also a couple of rumors going around with respect to Conor Gallagher possibility to move to PSG, a 50 million euro transfer. Nothing concrete yet, but there are a few sources. I actually made a video on it as well. Your thoughts on it? I don't think so. I think it's pretty much a very flashy transfer rumor because he's on top of his game. He just used that to create, clickbait and all that. I think it was one such attempt from The Sun. The publication that released this particular poster was The Sun. Your thoughts on it? Conor Gallagher, do you want to see him in Chelsea, if not PSG?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, Thomas Tuchel speaks glowingly about him, and when we're not even playing Crystal Palace. He spoke glowingly about him during the summer. He wanted him to stay, but he understood it was better for him to go out on loan. And the issue is, though, BJ, is if we stick to this system, how do you get the best out of him? So I've got a feeling he'd be put more in the bracket of playing in one of the front 3 positions.
Yeah.
Instead of like in a pivot. Listen, he looks very good. He's standing out for Crystal Palace quite a lot. I would definitely take him back if I was the manager, and I'd put him in the squad because there's something there. I think he's an all-rounder. I really do. I think he could potentially do the pivot, but not for a long, sustained period. For a few matches here and there. I mean, you've seen the engine he's got in him. He runs. I mean, that game against City, when he was just running box to box the entire game, and he didn't look like he was going to tire out, and he scored that second goal. I think that's there. You know, I think midfield we're going to see a lot of turnover next year because I think Saul will send Saul back.
With respect to Saul as well, Saul actually is playing with a bit of health concerns as well. His medical situation is not that really great. I mean, he's got some kidney injury in the past, and they've basically worked on him for that particular for treating that kidney injury. So he's not like the fittest player that you have on the pitch.
No.
I'm not saying he should be going because he had that sort of an injury. I kind of I'm being empathetic there, but I also wanted to just let the fan base know that these are the personal struggles that the players are going through. So we'll have to be very careful when we talk about that.
I totally agree. It's just unfortunate the situation he finds him in. And he's on loan, so he can't even settle in properly. Because if we bought him, we'd go, okay, you understand. I'm going to give him till next season, to see what he does. But I think he'll go back. I think Jorginho might leave in the summer. And the thing that we have to, I keep preaching this, the thing we have to start doing is right now to start beginning life without N'Golo Kante, because he's not going to play a lot of games. He's going to be injured quite a lot. We've always seen it this season. He rarely goes 3 games in a row playing. Sometimes can't even go 2. I worry that I think he'll play on Wednesday, but then hopefully he doesn't play against Chesterfield. And then, but he might get injured on Wednesday again because he seems to come back without any practice. And just.
You mean Jorginho, right? Or Kante?
Sorry, I mean Kante, yeah.
Kante, okay.
I think we need to start planning for life without Kante, even though he's only 30, just because he's not. The injuries are just piling up, and then you've got not only Gallagher situation, you've got Billy Gilmour as well. So, does he rate Billy Gilmour's physicality for this league?
Yeah,
passing no problem. I don't even think Billy Gilmour is a 6. Really, I think he's more of an 8.
Makes sense.
Him, the way he passes and everything like that. Everyone goes, oh yeah, he's nearly like Jorginho. No, he's not. He's not. If you actually watch how he plays, he's more progressive with the ball. Likes to run with it, take it forward. We've seen a bit at Norwich and for Scotland. Yeah. Do you fit him in, or do you go, you need another year somewhere else, a decent team this time? Something like not Norwich who treat him badly.
I think he's got some facets of his game that is more around Conor Gallagher's game, but not completely. Guys, we are into the last 6 minutes of the stream. If at all you want to come in and have your say or ask Andrew any questions, please go ahead. But we are into the last 6 minutes of the show. Just letting you guys know as well. It's been a long show. It's going to be hitting a 2 hard mark in 6 minutes. So, yeah. Conor Gallagher, I like this comment from MCIG. He says that Gallagher would compete with Mount in his position. The reason why I agree with that is because, the Crystal Palace team actually plays with a triangle up front with Conor Gallagher in that cam, and then they have Eduardo, Christian Benteke, or Zaha, whoever wants to play in that 2 up front. So they keep replacing. Sometimes even I guess Mateda or someone. I'm not sure. Slop or Mateda. They also tend to play there. I'm not getting his name properly. Could be Mateda.
I know.
But
who you
yeah,
mean. I know who you mean.
Yeah, but those 2 positions, and then this guy is basically the person who distributes it, right? So Mount basically was trying to do that when we were having this triangle. So would he be? I'm not going to say replacement as such, but would he be a very good backup for Mason Mount? Because Mason Mount, we all know that he's being overworked. So Chelsea are not short of games as well. This season was a very good example for that. So you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas Tuchel goes ahead and have both Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher in the team and try to play that cam role, alternating between them. But do you think that will work, or do you think Conor Gallagher will look for more of game time and probably not accept that sort of a deal if it's going to be that position?
I don't know. I think Conor Gallagher will go to the. I think if everything's all sorted and everything like that, and Tuchel's obviously hopefully still there next summer, because we never know, do we, with this club. If he goes, what do you see for me for the future? What do you want me to do? If he goes, listen, I can't promise you amount of games, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to compete, then I think he'll take it. I think he'll go, listen, you've been 2 years in the Premier League, you've done well. Even at West Brom, I thought he did well. Let's see what you can do. And then go on from there. Because let's face it, I don't even believe Thomas Tuchel believed he would put Trevor Chalobah in his squad this season. No, I don't think anyone thought of that. And even Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a bit of a surprise as well, because I thought his time was up, and it still may be. But I think he's got the promise there. I think it might be time to actually say, as hard as it is saying this, to someone like Ruben Loftus-Cheek going, listen, you may be a Chelsea Cobham graduate, but we just don't see you cutting the mustard here anymore. You're going to be 20. You're going to be 26. You're going into your prime, and as well as you played, we just at the moment we don't see where we put you in this system. Because you're not a 6. You're not a double pivot 6. You like to progress with the ball. That
failed miserably.
Yeah, you're more of an 8, really, aren't you? You're more of an 8, if we're going to be honest with him. And we'll see from there. But well, there's the old boring adage. What does back the manager? What does he want to do? If he wants to keep Conor Gallagher and send Billy Gilmour away on loan, you have to back him. And vice versa. To keep Billy Gilmour and send Conor Gallagher on loan, you got to back him like that. It's one of those.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Last 2 minutes, guys. So I'm just gonna wrap it up. Probably gonna ask Andrew his last thoughts on today's conversation, and also about any expectations further from Chelsea, from the channel, anything.
No, thank you for inviting me on, first of all. I really do appreciate it. And then, like I said, back this channel. Always back new channels or channels just starting. Just back them. They're doing good content, good Chelsea content as well. So obviously subscribe to this channel, like and share the video. And what might I expect? I don't know. Chelsea is such a basket case of a club. I do not know what to expect from them. If you asked me this, remember this time last year, you told me this time last year we were going to win the European Cup. I would have asked you.
Champions League. Yeah.
I would have said which doctor you're going to, because you need to stop going to them, because they're not, they're not helping you. But yeah, listen, we can easily go from not doing well in the league, struggling for top 4, and then win like 4 trophies this season. It can easily happen, or winning no trophies this and finish comfortably in the top 4. Like I said, I expect us to definitely win the Club World Cup if that goes ahead, and possibly the League Cup as well. The thing with the European Cup is the draw, and I'm not ashamed to say this, BJ. I want the easiest draws as possible. I'm not into this. We've got to beat Bayern, got to beat Man City. I don't care. They can knock each other out. I really
exactly.
don't care.
You play with the one who's knocked out everyone. It's still a win for us.
Because when they detail the name on the trophy, it doesn't say who you beat in the previous rounds. It just says that you won.
End of the day, trophy counts.
Exactly. So I would listen. If you say to me Club World Cup and European Cup, obviously I'll take it. European Cup even above the league this season, because the European Cup, if we win the European Cup, BJ, I don't know if you know this, we equal Man United's overall European Cup record.
Yeah. That's a great achievement.
We're the first Premier League team under this format to win it back to back, and we've won it in less years than Man United as well. Won it in 10. Won 3 trophies in 10 years. So that I would love to stick it on them. That part of me would love to do that, and then half get to half of what Liverpool have in their history. But
yeah, it's not long away. I mean, long time away. We still can do that. Newcastle as well are going to be rapidly progressing. Let's see what they're going to do in this transfer window. I'm not sure if there's going to be much of activity this transfer window, but I think Trippier is very close to Newcastle. signing to Newcastle. I just read a comment from Fabrizio Romano today confirming that. But he's not confirmed that he is going to, it's a done deal basically, but he started to say that
Well,
we're very close.
There was rumours that we may be looking into Kieran Trippier.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to bring this up. I mean, 31 years, but still can play both the sides. Wouldn't have been a bad choice. He's got.
It wouldn't be a bad choice.
Anyways, that is what we had for today's stream, guys. Absolutely a brilliant conversation with windsurfer Andrew. Thank you for first of all accepting my invite and jumping onto the channel. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you. Most of the time when I talk to Andrew, it's usually in the streams where we have like 8 to 10 people shouting with us or talking with us. It doesn't really resonate each other's thoughts very detailedly, but it's good to know a few details about Andrew, and also a lot of club history that he spoke to us, and definitely about the Liverpool game and his thoughts on Lukaku as well, and some of the transfer news as well is something that we've covered, injury updates, and the wonder goal, of course, for Kovacic. All in all, a very good stream. A lot of topics we've covered. MCIG says, big up VJ and Andrew. See you on the other streams soon. QNTV, Kasim, good entry, but we are actually closing down the stream. But thanks for coming on, mate. Kasim. Big up the lads, says Kasim. I mean, he works on a different timing, of course, so makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much for all of these support, guys. A lot of new people. We had 5 new subscribers while we were streaming today, which is another very good news for the channel on the whole. Thank you so much. Keep supporting, guys. We'll come up with a lot more content. Hopefully you like the stream and you like the show.